So I recently found the original game discs and books for the original World of Warcraft game and the first two expansions. Now, I'm not a collector, so this came as a bit of a surprise, but it got me thinking, how far have we come and how did each of the games stack up with their cinematic openings? Make sure you drop a comment below on your favourite cinematic, expansion, and what you think of the current trajectory of Warcraft. The game has evolved over the last 20 years and the cinematic shows exactly how far we have come. Not gonna lie, they're one of my favourite parts of the game, so I thought I'd go through each one and break down where I was at and how it made me feel. As long-time players, we've also evolved, and so has the gaming industry though. And once it was the pinnacle of the MMORPG world, not so much anymore. While it still has a larger following, it seemingly lags behind in popularity in comparison to its glory days, yet it is still hugely trending on Twitter and YouTube. I want to take everyone on a journey back to each expansion and the cinematic trailers that hyped them up. Did the expansions live up to the hype? Sadly not all of them did, but some are still our favourites and take us back to a simpler time in our lives. With our latest trailer, it does just that, and it brings the depth that we all need as well. Let's go through each trailer, starting with the original base game announcement. Off the back of Warcraft 3, we were seeing the next evolution of Warcraft, with a glimpse of some of the classes planned for the game, vast landscapes and ancient ruins of Azeroth that we could explore, and at the time, the visuals were great. Glimpses of battle between the Horde and Alliance we already knew and wanted to be a part of. Looking back, it is rough, but the nostalgia hits. Some players are still playing only Horde or Alliance almost 20 years later. With the Burning Crusade cinematic, we were left wanting more. The trailer itself was a massive improvement on the previous CGI and looked crisp as we see the Dark Portal opening, with the ominous dialogue of Illidan, one of the biggest characters in the lore. We got excited. We know this guy, but wait, who is this? Introducing the new races of the Blood Elves and the Draenei gave us a shot of something new, but also something familiar with Illidan. His dire warning built the anticipation well, so we came back in numbers. All the new races, quests, raids, zones and lore kept us absolutely hooked. They had a winner. 8 out of 10. Off the back of the Burning Crusade, we received exactly what the game needed. Going from strength to strength, we were given the trailer of Wrath of the Lich King and a familiar character from our past that we would never forget. Blizzard would eventually, but I still remember you, Arthas. You deserve better in the end. The cinematic was slow, it was ominous, it engaged us, so much that our jaws dropped until we knew what he was doing on that cliff's edge, and the reveal, he is back. Fuck yeah, we all said. Another great expansion was coming our way. 10 out of 10 from me. What we got from these first two expansions and their trailers was exciting. It built anticipation and gave us a prelude to something big, and Cataclysm showed no signs of slowing that down. The Cataclysm cinematic itself I think is incredible, and the single focus on this one character in the trailer gave us, like Arthas in Wrath, the next big bad for the champions of Azeroth to tackle, Deathwing. It was simple, pretty, and it showed a great enemy to defeat. What more could you want? New raids, dungeons, races and starting zones. The formula was working and the players kept coming back. For me, the Cataclysm expansion eclipsed the trailer. It was near the peak of the game, and the game had changed. 7 out of 10. Love it or hate it, the Mists of Pandaria had a different kind of trailer. The Alliance and Horde fighting as always, but the optimism towards the end of the trailer, the come check out my pretty land ending, did not present the big bad we were accustomed to. It gave us an adventure, an entirely new land. The scene itself tried to instill wonder and curiosity of maybe working together. As always, we got new zones with new content. A very different look to what we were used to, but still Horde vs Alliance, just on a new island with some new enemies. It felt like Warcraft, but nothing had fundamentally changed. Oh, but we did get pet battles. 10 years later, I've still not been able to get excited about that, but hey, each to their own. I still enjoyed it, and the expansion certainly lived up to what the trailer presented us, a new adventure, and I enjoyed it. 8 out of 10. The cinematic for Warlords of Draenor was visually solid and invoked the battlecry of old faces. I'll scream against the Pit Lord and then banding together to create a new dark portal. For me, the expansion didn't feel like it really lived up to the hype. It felt rushed, and this is where they really were relying on old characters to keep them going. It seemed to slip even still. Old Garrisons were a nice addition, so much more could have been done with it. This one did not live up to the hype. 6 out of 10. Oh Legion, what a cinematic and what expansion. This is Warcraft. This one has it all. Familiar faces, better CGI and an emotional tone. The thing to remember here, players have been playing the universe for 12 years. If you started high school in 2004, you are well into your working life now. Maybe you have a family of your own. The universe you've played in for 12 years is now emotionally developing as it did its main audience. We grew up and it still looked cool as shit. Varian and Sylvanas against the Legion. Give me another fuck yeah because they owned this one. The expansion itself saw the Warcraft lore expand and take it to another level. Broken Isles were great zones and well thought out. The dungeons and raids, in my opinion, were a big step up, and artifact weapons and class halls were interesting and a fun progression for your character, which I think worked well. A new version of this would be welcomed. Legion was the peak of World of Warcraft in my opinion, 10 out of 10. And then BFA hit us. The trailer showed us a great battle for Lordaeron between Horde and Alliance, each side's desperation for victory over the other, and it was a great battle and honestly a great battle scene. Seeing the power of Anduin and Sylvanas at their peak to inspire their side was great to see. The premise was solid, but the repetitive nature of just another expansion with big new zones was starting to wear thin. We got borrowed power from the Heart of Azeroth, which wasn't too bad, but when it became null and void, it left you feeling a little less. My biggest gripe from BFA though was the lack of flying and the grind needed to achieve it. The biggest win, however, was the introduction of allied races. I'll give this one 7 out of 10. The Shadowlands. Everyone's least favourite expansion, or so they say. No, actually that's what they say. I played a lot of it and the premise was looking good from the cinematic. An epic battle was coming. Old characters are returning, and a deeper look at the lore of the Lich King. Changing reality. Cool. Great cinematic, but did not follow through. Though in my opinion it was the only cinematic that was worth anything, as the rest were rushed and did not make a lot of sense. We got a lot of new confusing lore that did not make sense and changed everything we thought we knew about Azeroth. Retcons everywhere. It was the Jailer's plan all along apparently. Borrowed power with the Covenants, cool abilities that were time gated that you had to grind the hell out of to complete. They ended the expansion on a better note though, trying to change it up and trying new things, but this was still a letdown. The trailer starts in Northrend with the Lich King, and for me the expansion hit the bottom of this list when they let the soul fragment of Arthas fizzle out to nothing. He was a staple character of the franchise and what the game was built on. They lost a lot of people with this one. 5 out of 10. Now, Dragonflight. The cinematic feels a little bit more like Myst in that it takes a different approach. No big bad or battle scene, but a new land with a new adventure. The cinematic was interesting but had no real hook to it. Cool, dragons have returned to their homeland, which is coming for a ride I guess. We'll just bring an expedition of researchers with us. Oh wait, there is a big bad. Wait, there's another one. But wait, hang on, that one's gone now? Look, midway through Dragonflight the plans changed. There was a pivot in the story that can be explained. It wasn't natural, but it helped Dragonflight set up the next expansion and the World Soul Saga. It will be remembered as the expansion that helped WoW get its groove back. It got back to creating and setting up lore that mostly made sense. They refined the gameplay and systems while trying new things to see what players wanted. This expansion, while not liked by all, was about the players and trying new things to give the players what they wanted and build a platform going forward. This was successful. The only thing lacking was depth in the story. It beat the cinematics hype in this case. I'll give it 8 out of 10. The War Within. For 20 years we've watched these characters grow and thrall even longer. We've grown too, and the depth of emotion in this cinematic is what resonates with us the most. We care about these characters and have seen Anduin and Thrall's trials. As much as this expansion is a war within the world, we go deep down below the surface, there is a war within Anduin, and this cinematic nails it perfectly so that we understand him. Yes, he looks like Stephen Amell now and just as emotional as the Green Arrow, but the level of CGI now has brought us closer to the characters. While I don't know if this one will live up to the hype, I believe they've worked hard this time and made a lot of steps in the right direction through Dragonflight. Recently we got a free download of a short story, A Whisper of Warning by Delilah Dawson, which will be part of the upcoming book Voices Within. The depth of emotion and engagement in this story alone gives me hope. There's a great little read about Illyria, Turalyon, and their son Arator, and gives a little more emotion to the characters. There is no new lore in it, just perspective, which is good, and for such a quick read offers another layer to the characters, much like the War Within cinematic. If they can keep this up and truly build on the lore with this depth, we will have a real winner. I hope you've enjoyed this trip down memory lane with me, and if you have made it this far, please hit like and subscribe so we can do more. Thanks for watching.
You didn't just come here for me. It's the visions. You've seen them.